Boogeyman band coming round the bend. Is Boogeyman band. Is Boogeyman band.
Greetings, fellow Fright Fiends, and thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. Today's video is the spooky screenings, and this is going to be a spooky screenings on one of my most anticipated films of the year, and that being the fifth film in the Ghostbusters franchise, Ghostbusters Frozen in Empire. I grew up loving the Ghostbusters franchise, from the original two films and the cartoon, the real Ghostbusters cartoon, to the comic books that were put out by Now Comics. I was just, that was my thing. I loved it. You know, like a lot of people were into Transformers and things like that, and G.I. Joe. Mine was Ghostbusters. And Afterlife was a film that turned out to be the third Ghostbusters film in the original timeline that I didn't know I needed, but I was so grateful that it was made. It was also a very emotional send-off for the late great Harold Ramis, who had passed away in 2014, Egon Spangler. And that was just an emotional blow to all of us fans. We never thought we would see another Ghostbusters film. Now that, you know, one of the founding members, the one that created the universe with Dan Aykroyd, was now gone. I just remember watching Afterlife and seeing sort of the passing of the torch from not only Ivan Reitman to his son, but also fleshing out, Egon's backstory and his family, and it feeling very cohesive in terms of how the original crew, that being Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, and of course Bill Murray, all came back into the fold. And I just thought it was just a beautiful send-off for Harold Ramis and a great kickstart to a sort of a second life for the Ghostbusters. I was so excited to hear that they were going to do another one, and tragically we would lose Ivan Reitman in February of 2022. Of course, it got, delayed. It was supposed to come out at Christmas last year, but because of the writer and actor strike, it got pushed to March. So it just came out. I just saw it tonight. My wife and I went and saw it, and here's our tickets. And I even got one of the giant Slimer popcorn buckets. So I love this. So much fun. Had a blast. There was so many awesome people at the theater, people that were bringing their kids, people that were my age, that grew up with the original films. And I was just so excited to sit down and watch this film with my wife. I was discouraged by critics and Rotten Tomatoes and hearing all about that, that they were giving this a lower rating than they had than any other previous Ghostbusters film, and that includes the remake, which shocked me. But, I kept saying, I'm going to go into this. I don't really give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes, and I have no problem with film criticism. I understand that is an art form, but it's not my art form, even though I tried to do it for many years on this channel. I'm a film fan. I'm a fan of this franchise, and I grew up with these films. They're very special to me. The original came out when I was 10 years old. That's 40 years ago. It's crazy to think about that. In fact, I still have something that my father gave me when Ghostbusters was released on VHS tape, and it's this, you can see it right there, it's this little pin, and I don't wear it very much. I kind of keep it in my room in the Horror Zone because it's something I want to keep, because I'm not really close with my dad. We've always kind of had a fractured relationship, and Bill Murray was his favorite. He loved Bill Murray from Caddyshack and ended up becoming a fan of Venkman, and Bill Murray and Peter Venkman have always been my favorite, and a lot of it has to do with my father. I was really excited to see this film. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters new and old must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. The movie stars Paul Rudd as Gary Groberson, Carrie Coon as Callie Spangler, Finn Wolfhard as Trevor Spangler, McKenna Grace as Phoebe Spangler, Kurnal Nanjiani as Nadim Razamati, Patton Oswalt as Dr. Herbert Wertsky, Celeste O'Connor as Lucky, Logan Kim as Podcast, Bill Murray as Peter Venkman, Dan Aykroyd as Ray Stantz, Ernie Hudson as Winston Zedmore, Annie Potts as Janine Melnitz, and William Atherton as Mayor Walter Peck. The movie was written by Gil Kinnan, Jason Reitman, and was directed by Gil Kinnan. Like I said, huge fan of the Ghostbusters films. I got this a couple of years ago. This is like one of the coolest things, I think, where you have all the movies, and then if you pull this in, you get the green light effect. It's really, really cool. But yeah, love this franchise. And like I said, even the remake, I don't have a problem with. So what did I think of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? Am I on the side with the critics that are saying it's got too many characters, it's not long enough, it's a little unfocused? Absolutely not. And I would be honest with you guys if I didn't like it, even if I am not trying to be a film critic here. I'm being a film fan. I had so much fun with this movie, and I know that the point of this film and the way that it was structured was very much in line with the real Ghostbusters cartoon series. It's been said on multiple occasions that's the way that they were going with this, and it works phenomenally. This is the Ghostbusters film I've been wanting to see for a very long time. Yes, I wanted to see it a long time ago when the original crew were still around, especially Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman, who are both gone, unfortunately. But the way that this was done, and just the way that this was structured, you're coming into this universe where the Ghostbusters are back in action. Yes, it's the Spangler family and Groberson that are now the Ghostbusters, and you have Winston, who is sort of the money man behind all of this, but they're also expanding the lore in this film. There's this whole interesting side plot of what they're doing, and then you have this amazing nemesis, the character of Garaka, and he was terrifying, and I really love the way that the mythos about him is brought up, how he's talked about throughout the film, and then how you see his grand entrance towards the third act. Nothing against people that are going to be critical of this film. That's fine, but in this day and age, I really just miss the simple days of my childhood, and this brought me back. I felt like a 10-year-old kid watching the first film for the first time with his dad, and it just made me happy. And I thought that everybody in the cast did a great job. I felt like Afterlife was more of an emotional send-off and kind of a reintroduction to the Ghostbusters universe, where I felt like with this one, it's established. You're coming into it with the Ghostbusters in action. They're not having to restart the business. The business hasn't been shut down. It's an active business that's going on. They're busting ghosts in New York again, which we haven't seen with the original team behind these films since 1989. So it's emotional. I got emotional watching it. I just felt like everybody played their part so perfectly, and I love Paul Rudd. I love McKenna Grace. I thought that Finn Wolfhard did a great job. Carrie Coon, of course, and seeing the original characters back, the guys that established the Ghostbusters franchise, being Peter Venkman. You got Peter Venkman played by Bill Murray, Raymond Stantz played by Dan Aykroyd, Janine Melnitz, Annie Potts, and then of course Winston Zeddemore played by the amazing Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson and Winston Zeddemore, after Peter Venkman and Bill Murray, he's my favorite. And I love that there was more Dan Aykroyd in this one. Whereas in Afterlife, they felt kind of like just, they were like little plot devices in the film to sort of drive the story a little bit, sort of give a little bit of exposition to the Phoebe character who's trying to find out what's going on, especially on the Ray Stantz character. They were more fleshed out here. They had more to do in this film. They felt more vital to the overall story. And it all came together so beautifully. The fact that, we have the firehouse, we see more of the firehouse, you got the containment unit, Slimer's back in it, you got the little marshmallow ghosts, the little marshmallow, Stay Puft Marshmallow ghosts, and there's a lot of new, interesting ghosts that are introduced. It was just a blast. And I don't know how anybody could go in this and not walk out with a smile on their face if they grew up with the original franchise and loved it and loved the cartoons like I did. I can't say enough great things about it. It was something that I really just truly needed at this point in my life right now, where I have a lot of just disorder in my life. And I cannot sing enough praises to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I loved it. It might be one that I love more than Afterlife. My first movie in the movie theater since mid-January. And that was around the time that all my problems with my house started. So I'm just so grateful I got to see this, got to see it with my wife in a packed auditorium with people having a good time and laughing, and all these amazing people reminiscing about this film franchise that meant so much to us. And I was so happy to see all of these characters that I love one more time, and I hope that we get another film after this. I would love to see another Ghostbusters film. It has this same energy, the same focus, and just bringing back this amazing cast. Everybody worked so well together. Cannot recommend it enough. Definitely recommend seeing Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. If you have seen the film, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Would love to hear from everyone. And as always, thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Hey, my fellow Fright Fiends, I just want to thank everyone for supporting Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone. If you haven't yet subscribed and you'd like to, please hit the subscribe button down below. Click the bell notification so you're updated every time I drop a new video. I try to drop a video at least once or twice a week. The Horror Zone is a passion of mine, and it really makes me happy that I can share that passion with all of you guys. Thanks so much again for the support, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always.